say first, Coach? Or Mike, do you want to make an opening statement?
Yeah, I will.
All right, we're going to go ahead and get started here with Coach Bobo. He will make an opening statement, then we'll open up for questions. Go ahead, Coach.
All right, thanks, guys, for coming. Georgia week, get to play an opponent, Georgia, that's a very, very good football team, has very, very good players. I know they're a little bit beat up on the defensive side of the ball, but I think they've been getting some guys back. You know, the thing about them, when you turn on the tape, is the size and the speed on both sides of the ball. We'll always say that they have good players, but they do an excellent job of coaching those players. They play great team defense. They do a great job matching coverage in defense, matching patterns defensively. They know how to fit runs offensively. They've been a little bit ball control until this last game when they inserted J.T. Daniels. I know they had a little bit of trouble running the ball the past game, but that defensive scheme will do it to you. I've gone against it when I was at Colorado State for 5 years, the Rocky Long defense from San Diego State. But, JT showed the ability to put the ball in the air, throw the ball vertically. They got George Pickens back, who's an outstanding receiver, is a home run threat every time he's on the field. I've been really impressed with number 7, Burton, the true freshman that plays in the slot, ability to get open. And like always, Georgia has a number of backs that, they all look very, very similar. Special teams, I think they're sound in special teams. I think they've got great returners. They're one of the few teams that, when you kick the ball off, they're trying to bring it out every time. And I think they've played 3 different guys on kickoff return, and all of them are eager to carry it. And they've had a lot of positive plays, momentum plays in special teams, especially kickoff return. As long as punt return, Jackson is dangerous in punt return too. So it's a big challenge for us, playing these guys. But like I said, after the game, it's the last game of the season at home for a lot of our seniors, the ones that aren't going to come back. I'm not sure on the number of that, but a lot of these seniors, this will be their last game at Williams-Brice Stadium. So we're working extremely hard this week to get a good plan, go on the field, and get ready to play a talented football team. So I'll open it up for questions.
David with the first one.
How's it going, Mike? Thanks for doing this today. Hope you're well. Do you know?
Do you win the lottery every week? How come you get the first question? Is that how that works? Okay.
But during players, a lot of guys got the first, But I was just wondering, do you know who your starting quarterback is on Saturday? And if not, when do you plan to make that decision?
Yeah, we know who our starting quarterback is going to be, but we're not going to announce it to the public.
Mike Gillespie.
Hey, Coach, I'm wondering, who does Luke Doty remind you of, maybe, professionally, or guys that you've played with or coached in the past?
It's a good question. The thing, I had a talk with Luke yesterday, and I said, the thing I said, I want you to be Luke Doty. I don't want you to be, anybody else other than Luke Doty. And sometimes when, and comparisons are going to happen. But I'll just leave that up to you guys. I'm stressing for him to be Luke Doty and be who he is, and be the best Luke Doty he can be in his football skills, and how he runs, how he throws, and his leadership skills too. Don't try to be me. Don't try to be Connor Shaw. You got to be Luke Doty, because that's who's genuine. When you're genuine, that's when people will follow you.
Mike Yuba.
Mike, 2 questions. One, there no new guys in terms of opting out this week. We're good.
No, sir.
All right, thank you. And the second question I want to ask you is, obviously players made their own, decisions up last week for themselves and their family, but for a guy like Hutchinson to say those comments, I don't know if you had a chance to listen to him after the game last week, but just speaking in terms of just the leadership and just wanting to be there for those younger guys, what does that mean for you right now, especially in the role that you're currently in?
It means a lot. When you're trying to get a team ready to play, and we're going through what we're going through, not just losing their coach, but the ability to opt out at any time for guys, and really no penalty of losing a year or losing your scholarship or losing your cost attendance. You don't lose anything, and it's trying to teach these these kids that are here that you're playing for more than yourself, and that was a great example of him standing up and saying it's not just about me, it's about this team, it's about showing these guys how to show up and go to work every day, and I've loved coaching this kid or being a part of in the room coaching him. When we've struggled at times, he's walked up, came up to my office and we've talked, and it hadn't been about, what we're doing schematically or who's playing, or it's what can I do to help us, to be better coach. And that's been his attitude since day one. And I think his play has reflected that. I think he's having an outstanding year this year and enjoying playing football.
Dick Cox.
Mike, it's Georgia week. You were an outstanding quarterback at Georgia, great offensive coordinator there. I know when I was in coaching, playing against my alma mater, used to get my juices flowing a little bit. I wouldn't admit it, but does this game a little bit special to you or get your juices going in a different way?
It's I can sit here and say, hey, it's another opponent. It's, we got to get ready to play, and that's all true, but there is, there's more excitement in the air because it's, there's a lot of history there. There's a lot of people I know on the other side of the ball, not just at Red Georgia, but in coach, known since we were childhood friends. And then I know when I played there, when I coached there, it was always tough to come over here and play. Now, we're not going to have 85,000 people in the stands, but it was a tough place to come play at Williams-Brice Stadium. So, we're going to be ready. We're going to be ready to compete. I'll say that. That head coach, we know each other well, and not just football. We've always competed at everything we've always done, and it's been very, very spirited competitions. I'll say that.
Colin Taylor.
Mike, Bobo, first of all, just do you have a favorite story of when you competed with Kirby Smart? Is there a good story that you have?
Yeah, we'll keep. There's a lot of stories, right? The main thing is, I haven't played as much golf as I used to play before I got sick, and then 5 kids, and then coaching's kind of changed with recruiting year round. But early in our coaching days, it was playing days, there was a lot of golf, and he was a class below me. So him and Dax Langley were always partners because they were the class of '94, and then myself and Travis Johnson, who was a center from North Carolina, we're always competing there, and we had the upper hand for a while, but we haven't won in a while. But some spirit. I'm not going to get into the details of the competition, but a lot of competition between 9-3 and 9-4 back in the days.
And I guess with JT Daniels, just how hard is it to game plan for a guy like that when you don't have much film on him in that system at Georgia?
Yeah, I think we got to get ready to obviously play some things or play against some of the things they did last week offensively because he's a different guy. He's a thrower. And Stetson was a thrower too, but he wasn't, he ran around a little bit. But I think they're always going to have an element to want to run the ball and be physical because of who they are, the size that they have, the backs that they have. I think they're probably, they're going to search to have a little bit more balance. I think what I want to say Washington State, but what Mississippi State did against them last week, I think forced them, to have to throw the ball a little bit more. I think you'll see a more balanced team, that's not going to be afraid to, to put it in the air and spread you out, but also get in tight end sets and 12 personnel and run the ball. So I think that's what we all, strive. I don't think they want to be totally spread and throw it every down. I think you're going to see balance, and you got to prepare for JT. He's probably more of a pocket guy. He does have good movement in the pocket to find a throwing lane, but I don't think he's going to pull it down and run like maybe Stetson or Mathis did.
Ben Brenner.
Mike, just if you have a guy like Luke in there, what does he kind of allow the offense to do differently, kind of scheme wise?
If Luke's your quarterback, I think, one, we have to work a lot more on those scramble rules, because the quarterback, if something's covered, he's gonna break out of the pocket and either look to run or look to throw. So sometimes, you don't work those as maybe as much as you would if you didn't have a mobile quarterback. But that's where a lot of big plays are generated sometimes when guys a protection breaks down or things are covered is when, you scrambling and then you actually throw the ball, not scrambling to run, but scrambling to throw. You see a lot of explosive plays happen that way. So I think, the broken play, explosives off the broken play would be the main thing. Obviously, quarterback run game is the other one.
Rick Henry.
Hey, Mike, a couple of questions. Some of the players have talked about the energy that Luke brought to practice. I was just wondering your reaction the first time you saw him make some of those plays in practice, especially as a former quarterback.
I would say this, and I've said this about Luke Doty. The times I've talked to the media, everybody loves Luke Doty because he is the ultimate team guy. He's gone out there and played receiver. He's played on special teams. Luke's having fun. Luke's excited about being in Carolina. It's not about Luke, it's about the team, and I think guys respect that. And, I know we're 2-6 and we're going through a pandemic and they've lost a coach but this guy's out there having fun playing football. And I think that resonates with the guys.
My next question, it's been a tough year for all of us with the pandemic, and some of us also face personal challenges. I was just wondering, as we approach Thanksgiving, what are you most thankful for this year?
Well, I'm thankful for, to live in a country, where we're free and able to make choices. I think that's a blessing sometimes we overlook, and I'm thankful that, the people that fought for this country, that were able to do that. And I'm thankful for family. And that's my family at home, my wife and kids that support me, that love Dad no matter what. That I'm the best coach in the world, even though I know I wasn't on some Saturdays, and they're going to hug you and tell you that. And I'm thankful for the football family here at South Carolina. I've only been here, going on almost a year, but welcomed me and my family, and I'm appreciative of that. It's something my wife and I talked about last night and this morning. And you said it. It's easy to look at, things aren't going great. You're losing, you're struggling. It become a challenge for you as a coach and a player. But we have a lot to be thankful for. What we get to do and who we get to do it with, and the country we live in. There's a lot of stuff that we could say that's negative. It's not going great. But there's a lot of positives too, and that was kind of my message to the team today. I didn't get into the Thanksgiving, but I should have, since it was Thanksgiving week. But we're getting to play football, and if that's not your cup of tea right now, then that's okay. You have an option to do, but we want to go battle with guys that enjoy it, go compete, and let's have fun, and let's enjoy these last 2 weeks.
Phil Kornblut.
Comment. So you're saying Thanksgiving is more than just a meal to you. That's not a question. That's just kind of a statement. Have you and Coach Tanner had a chance to talk about the head coaching job? If not, do you expect to interview with him this week or next week? Do you consider yourself a candidate at this point?
I have not talked to Coach Tanner about any of that. I've been focused on he's asked me to lead this football team and get them ready to play and put their best foot forward, week in and week out. And I'm saying this as honest as I can, Phil. That's all I'm focused on.
John Whittle.
Mike, obviously there are a lot of things to still be decided, but have any of those seniors expressed to you that they definitely want to come back next week, or what have those conversations been like with you guys?
Coach Muschamp has some conversations with some guys, as the beginning of the year, and when they came out with the rule of that guys could come back. So we've got a list of guys that have said, they're going to come back. I think that'll be, a conversation for the new head coach to have with those guys.
Kyle Thomas.
Coach, talk to me about some of the conversations that you're having with your quarterbacks going into this week.
Is that we got a job to do. We got to get ready. We got to prepare. Today was day one installation. Basically normal downs. When I say that, I mean first or second downs, and learning the plan, and everybody being ready to play. you've got a job to do. Your job of a quarterback is to learn what we're doing so you can go out and execute it, but it's also to be a leader of the football team. And you get, and being a leader of a football team is showing up, doing your work, being a team guy. And it's not about you. That's what being a leader is, and that's been my message to those guys.
Colin Taylor.
Yeah, Mike, I guess if Luke is the starting quarterback, how comfortable do you feel with his ability to know the entire playbook, and will there be any limits to kind of what he can do on the field? I'm not asking you to give up state secrets, but just do you feel comfortable with his knowledge of the scheme?
Whichever quarterback's in there, we're going to do things that fit their skill set.
David Cloninger.
Hey, Mike, is there an update on Shy and DeCarrion? Could they potentially play?
Yeah, Shy Smith is, I would say, doubtful for this game. To carry on practice today, he had limited practice with the amount of periods that our training staff let him go, but I thought he looked good. So I'm expecting. I would say I didn't get the update today, but I don't want to upgrade him to probable, but I'd say he's probably questionable to probable. Offensively, I think we're Xavier Leggett still out. Offensively, defensively, KT is questionable. Tonka Hemingway is questionable. Jordan Birch is questionable. 27 Jalen Foster is questionable. We got a lot of issues. I think we're down 16 scholarship players defensively right now from practice, but it is what it is, and we're going whoever's here willing to play, we're going to coach them up, and whoever the training staff says can play, we're going to coach them up, and we're going to go out there and battle our ass off.
Dick Cox.
I know it's Georgia week, but the big question for me this week is, are you a white meat turkey guy or dark meat turkey guy? And what's your favorite thing to eat on Thanksgiving?
Love it. That's something that we would always, now that you mentioned that, as quarterback coach and at Georgia, when I first started, Mark Rick was in the room, and then he gradually gave it to me. But every Thanksgiving, we'd always talk about, obviously what you're thankful for, and then, hey, what's your meal? So I've done this, that tradition for 20-something years that I've been coaching. I never was a turkey guy. I'm a white meat turkey guy, but I never was a turkey guy really because I thought it was too dry until they started frying turkeys. Now they fry turkeys. I love turkey. And then my favorite, my mom's squash casserole. I would go with that. So basically, what I do is I'll sit there and pick at the turkey off the tray, which you're not supposed to, and I'll eat that all throughout the day. And then when it's time for to actually sit down and eat, I fill my plate with vegetables. And then I'm going to have some sweet tea. I hadn't had sweet tea in 5 years for Thanksgiving. Now that I'm back in the South, I'll have some sweet tea.
Ben Briner.
Hey, Mike, kind of two questions. The first one is you said you haven't really had many of the senior day conversations with the guys just because Will had them beforehand, correct?
I'm talking about who's coming back as a senior. That's the seniors. All the seniors are going to be involved in the senior day, but as far as who's coming back and not deciding to come back an extra year because of the NCAA, I haven't had those conversations with them because they're all playing. That would be for the next head coach to have that conversation or a conversation with them after the season.
Okay, and I kind of wanted to ask just how what has it been like doing the pre-senior day conversations with guys who could all potentially come back? Because usually it's juniors who say they want to walk because they might go to the NFL, or redshirt juniors who might leave the program. And now you've got that conversation with guys who could potentially come back. And also
Go ahead, finish your question.
I was going to say also one football question, which is you mentioned Missouri, because of their coverages kind of left scrambling lanes. Does Georgia do similar stuff to that, or are they a little bit less on that side of things?
Hey, as far as your senior day question, we had that's something our operations guy, coach George Wynn, handles, conversation with all those guys. And the bad thing about this year, senior day is a special day for all seniors. because they get recognized in front of, the fan base. And obviously we don't have a full fan, and their parents get to come on the field. But the pandemic we're in, the parents aren't going to be allowed on the field. So we addressed that with them. Coach George Wynn addressed it with them, and it's not something, they wanted to hear because their families are a big part of their lives. But, it's what we're going through. Those are the rules. So they'll be honored. We'll take a group photo with all the seniors. They'll take a photo together, and then we'll show their family on the big screen. I know it was special, for me when I was a senior, and it was special for me when I was a head coach at Colorado State to not only say thank you to those seniors, but also tell their parents and loved ones thank you. And that's an opportunity, they won't have. So maybe that'll encourage some of them, to come back and, have a true senior, season. It's been a difficult one, and I know some of them will and some of them won't. But we're not, my message to them and everybody on the team is your time is right now, okay? It wasn't last week. It's not in the future after the season or when I said it's right now. Enjoy right now. Okay, don't get focused on, what's going to happen in 2 weeks or who Ray Tanner's going to hire or where you're going to. Just enjoy being here and being part of this family and playing with these guys right now. That's my message. Okay, I'm not getting into are you coming back or you staying. My focus is on right now, getting ready to play Georgia today in our practice, and then coming out and having a great practice tomorrow and learning the plan. I don't get into all that because they're playing for South Carolina. And I'm playing for the NFL right now. They're playing for South Carolina. The other thing is coverages. I expect, if Luke Doty is in the game, that we would see some coverages where he would be accounted for. Whether it's a low hole, what you call a robber, have eyes sometimes spy or drop a safety down. The thing about Georgia, they play a lot of split safety coverage. Because they're so good up front, whether they're in there 3 down or 4 down, they're able to play a lot of split safety and really smother you in the passing game because they can stop the run in their base defense. 3rd down is where they get really, really exotic. And if you've seen Georgia play or, when 3rd down happens, it's a boatload of substitutions. They got packages for all kind of guys. They got blitzes coming from everywhere. So that's where you might see something different if, Luke Doty was a quarterback in a 3rd down situation, because now you got to account for different plays other than drop back pass.
Mike Yuba.
Thanks, Mike.
Mike, what is Thursday? How will that look for you guys in terms of practice? I know Nick Muse mentioned that some of the local guys might have a chance to go back to see their families.
Yeah, that's what we're going to do, Mike. Now, the good thing is we practice in the morning, but I've always, and I think Coach did it before, even we'd be off, we'd practice in the morning and give local guys an opportunity to go home. We won't have our meetings until Friday until 1 o'clock because it is a night game on Saturday. So they'll have a good 24 hours to go home, and then we'll stress what we have. Every time they've had any kind of off time is remember social distance, remember to wear your mask. You could come back and potentially affect not only yourself but somebody on this football team. And the kids have done a great job with that. When Coach gave them time off in the open week. They're coming back, and knock on wood, nobody tested positive. So, we'll continue to educate and give them their pointers. Our training staff and operations has done a great job of that. But we're going to allow them to go home, and hopefully, some of our players that aren't from close by, will have an opportunity to go to our other players' families' houses. That's what we've always done is, open it up and try to get everybody a place to go for Thanksgiving. We'll have our meal Wednesday night as a team, but Thursday will be about their families.
And Mike, I know Phil mentioned it a little bit earlier, the whole, do you view Thanksgiving as a meal or a holiday? The reason why that was mentioned is because a couple of years ago, Coach Muschamp actually said he just views it as a meal. So we have to ask you now, is Thanksgiving a meal or a holiday?
It's a holiday. I think it's a really, and I try to, live your life where you're thankful every day. When you wake up, you ought to be thankful, that we live in a country and get to do what we get to do. But I think when it's Thanksgiving, it brings more attention to make yourself sit down and be grateful. And that's, it's something I've always tried to stress to my kids and kids that I've coached. We got a lot to be grateful for. There's gratitude. And so we'll continue to stress that. But it is, I'm basically Thanksgiving every day, as much weight as I've put on since I've been here. So I might skip the meal and just be thankful to be able to be at home with my family Thursday afternoon.
Kyle Thomas.
Coach, going off of what you just said about players opening up their homes to the players who aren't from around this area, earlier in the press conference, Nick Muse actually said that any player who's not from here is welcome to come to his house and enjoy a meal. What does that just say about the culture and mentality of the program and the brotherhood that players have created so far?
It's your family away from your family, and these guys spend a lot of time together. You got kids from all walks of life, different races, different religions, but we're one family, one team here, and guys take care of each other. And I think this is a great week. It's really been a great year to even focus more on that. And then the last week and a half, I think we've drawn us even closer. These players even closer, because sometimes they realize it is, this is all we got is us. Sometimes things happen beyond our control, but, your loved ones, sometimes we take those for granted, your loved ones. And I think, these teammates they love each other.
Dick Cox.
Regardless of the records, and even back when you were playing and coaching there, though, it seems like the South Carolina-Georgia game is always a close game. Why do you think that happens?
Well, I think you got a lot of players. South Carolina's always recruited as a state of Georgia heavily, and they've always had back, from when I was playing, guys on that team that were from Georgia when I was coaching. And a lot of these kids, they know each other, and so it's very, very competitive. It's like, when you're competing against your guys you've competed against your whole life, and them, you want to succeed even more. So I think that's one of the reasons.
Seeing no more hands, I guess that's a wrap. If you think of another question, call in tonight on the call-in show, 7 o'clock over at Backstreet's Grill. Coach Bo will be there and happy to answer your question tonight.
Thanks, guys.
Always, everybody have a happy Thanksgiving.